In this passage, though, we do gain some insight into the nature of temptation and how we can overcome it when it comes our way. We see from Potiphar's wife that temptation can come at us through flattery. That initially she comes at him and it's like, hey, come to bed with me. You're really attractive. She speaks well to him. And, when we're tempted, we can have that kind of flattery. It can seem like it's such a good thing. But the thing we realize with Potiphar's wife is she did not want something for Joseph. She wanted something from him. And so she really didn't care about him. But also we see that temptation can come upon us by catching us off guard. It can startle us. That eventually, at the end, she just orchestrates a situation where he's going about his day and all of a sudden, bam, there it is, right in his face. And what are you going to do when you aren't necessarily prepared? You're caught off guard. And then we also see from her that temptation will try to wear us down. It's going to try and come back again and again and again to see if we can just get us to the point of saying, fine, I'll just give in so that I'm over with it. But from Joseph, we see 4 ways that we can overcome temptation. 4 things that can help us resist the temptation. The first is to have the right perspective. Joseph had clarity on the situation. He talks about all that had happened to him. He said, my master Potiphar, he's put me in charge of everything. It's a bad situation. I'm a slave, but it's kind of a good situation that I've got within this bad situation. And there's gratitude that he feels for all that he has been entrusted with. And he doesn't have frustration when he says to Potiphar's wife, really, the only thing he's withheld from me is you. He's not going, well, I kind of wish I had that wasn't true. He's like, yeah, I totally get that. Potiphar has entrusted me in a great way. I feel gratitude for this. But also, notice that when he says that, he then also says, now why would I sin against God? He doesn't say, why would I sin against my master, which is kind of what we would think. He saw clearly that if I do this, primarily I am going to be I'm going to be rebelling against God and what God wants for me. And so Joseph held on to this truth. He had this understanding that God is with me. God is blessing me. I've been entrusted with responsibility. I feel grateful for this. And I don't want to bring dishonor. I don't want to go against what God wants for my life. And in being able to root these actions in God and what God wanted for him, there was a deeper loyalty, a deeper anchor, a stronger anchor that he was able to have. The second thing is he confronts it directly. When she comes to him, he doesn't just go, well, I don't know. He doesn't play or flirt with her. He just says, no, this isn't right. I'm not going to do that. In fact, it's interesting when you look at Joseph's answer, not as only is he explaining, this is why I'm not going to do it. He's also counseling her to go, why would you want to do this? He's saying things, you're his wife. He's trying to awaken within Potiphar's wife a sense of right and wrong, and to engage her conscience to go, oh yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be doing this. A third thing is Joseph adjusts the situation as able. Joseph uses wisdom. He understands he can't just go and say, well, I'm not going to have anything to do with that lady ever again. He's going to be in this situation. He's one of Potiphar's slaves. He's going to have to come across her. And so he tries to orchestrate things so he's not alone, or he just avoids her as much as he is able. So he's using wisdom to go, how can I set up circumstances so I just can't do what this temptation is trying to get me to do? And then fourth is flee when necessary. Eventually, as we saw, Potiphar's wife uses her power to create a situation where Joseph is alone. And in that case, he just fled. He was like, I just got to get out of here. And he left his cloak in her hands. And we need to understand this is not an act of cowardice. This is actually an act of courage. He was saving his honor. He was making sure I'm going to be faithful to God above all else, even though there may be some really bad consequences that come from this, which we're going to see. There were some awful consequences that came for him.